The movie begins in a mysterious, gloomy realm. A man sees the gates of the afterlife ahead of him, but when he gets close, they shut. The guy is surrounded by a towering god playing a pipa. The god plays the pipa to perform magic upon the man, while the guy begs to be allowed inside the gates. Back to Earth, we meet a young boy named Din Song. He became friends with the mischievous girl, Lena Wang, who lives with her wealthy father who barely ever has time for her. The two kids become closest friends for a few years, till her father makes Lena move out with him, forcing her to say goodbye to Din and making him feel lonely once more. 10 years later, Din began working as a food delivery worker, prioritizing his work over his studies. While working, he runs across his friend Y and begs him to bring his assignment home. His final delivery takes him to visit a demolished house where a homeless guy requests his order. He offers Din a teacup before pretending to vanish. Din arrives home to find his mother preparing dinner and his neighbors admiring his brilliance and potential for success. Y arrives and leaks information about Din missing class by bringing his assignment, upsetting his mother and ruining the situation. Later on in the evening, Din goes to get a cheap suit and goes to billboard featuring Lena, who is model by now. He misses her terribly and wants to get in touch with her. But as his suit tears apart, he feels as if he was deluding himself into thinking she would still consider him a friend. When he says that he wishes he had kept their word, the teapot he took with him starts to wobble. The wish dragon, Longju, is let unleashed. He announces to Din that he is his new master, whose job as a wish dragon is to grant 3 wishes to whoever holds the teapot. Long also reveals that every wish dragon must serve 10 masters in order to enter the spirit world, and that Din is his 10th master. Just outside, 3 criminals, including a bald guy named Pockets, a small henchman, and a tall one, are standing right outside the alley. When they arrive at the location where their employer has ordered them to look for the teapot, Pockets uses his kung fu to sneak past the local guards. When they come across Din, they notice that he is holding the teapot. They pursue him, but Din wishes he could fight, and Long allows him to use his own kung fu abilities to combat the bad guys and help him to escape. Following that, the 3 headed to report to their employer, Mr. Wang. Long follows Din the following day as he attempts to persuade the boy to utilize his final 2 wishes. Then he accompanies Din around the city, learning about the modern world and all the improvements he has missed. Long also becomes addicted to shrimp. Long is upset with the chaos of the traffic while they are stuck in a cab, so he uses his magic to fly himself and Din out of there. The 2 eventually find themselves in front of Lena's house on the day of her birthday party. Din makes the decision to use his second wish to become a wealthy princeling in order to attract Lena's attention, since he genuinely wants to get back in touch with his best buddy. With Long serving as his personal assistant, Din enters the party. Din succeeds in getting near enough to Lena, but she doesn't instantly recognize him and treats him with the same respect as the other guests. Mr. Wang fails to appear when it is time for Lena and her father to dance together. Din tries to save Lena from embarrassment by performing kung fu magic tricks with the help of Long, but Lena goes to her room to cry. Din goes to try and reintroduce himself to her, but Mr. Wang's assistant Buckley enters so he may speak to Lena through video call. Din attempts to be cool when he sees Mr. Wang's and tells a lie, claiming that his name is Dan and that his family owns a chain of dumpling restaurants. Mr. Wang sets up a later lunch date for Din and Lena since he believes Din is a wealthy suitor. After the party, Long attempts to convince Din to use his final wish once again, explaining that all he really wants is to enter heaven because he was once a human ruler and was loved by all of his people. When Din goes home, he appears crazy in front of his mother because Long got in the way. Only Din can see him. In the morning, Pockets and his goons are seen in front of Din's apartment without knowing that he returned home. They then follow him as he heads out for his lunch with Lena. They go to a restaurant where Long attempts to persuade Din to come appear more arrogant and pretentious to the staff. But Lena finds it unpleasant. Before she can decide to leave Din, the bad guys crush into the restaurant. Din uses his kung fu skills to knock them off and get Lena out of there. They escape but end up at the festival outside, where Long hides Din and Lena by posing as a paper dragon. Pockets and the goons use their own dragon to fight, but Din manages to get himself and Lena to safety. When they are alone, he confesses himself to be Din and admits to lying to Lena in the hopes that she wouldn't catch him as a commoner. And they spend the rest of the day in the neighborhood, reliving their childhood pastimes. Lena starts to recognize the neighborhood they are in as the one she used to live in. They go together to Din's apartment, where Mrs. Song remembers Lena and treats her to a meal. And all the while the curious neighbors look in, Lena spends the rest of the afternoon playing and making dumplings with everyone. Later that evening, Lena explains that she must leave and that she can no longer see Din due to the standards and expectations she has for herself as a result of her father. Din feels offended but accepts. As she lives, Din angrily asks Long to make him truly rich, this time in a last-ditch effort to be respected. Then, Long explains his past through hazy imagery. As the emperor, he desired money and honor to be the best among all the previous rulers, but no one was ever pleased around him, and he was always alone. His daughters were married off to other royal families, but led unhappy lives, while his son was drafted into the military and died in battle. When Long passed away, no one came to mourn him. As he tried to enter paradise, the god at the gate rejected him, and he was transformed into a wish dragon as punishment for his greed. He also reveals that his time as a wish dragon was meant to serve as a means to understand the meaning of life, and has failed to accomplish that with all of his previous masters before he met Din. After tracking down Din, Mr. Wang arrives with Pockets and the goons. He requests the teapot in an attempt to save his business, which is in danger of going bankrupt. Pockets betrays Mr. Wang and goes after the teapot for himself. He knocks Din down and knocks Mr. Wang off of some scaffolding, mortally wounding him and taking the teapot for himself. He makes himself Long's new master and orders the wish dragon to grant him a left hand made of living gold that transforms whatever it comes in contact with into gold. Lena returns and finds her father dying. Din chases the goons by swinging down on a wrecking ball and eventually ends up fighting Pockets over the teapot. The tall goon wishes for enough puppies to open up a pet store, and the short goon wishes for longer legs. Accidentally, Pockets converts the van into gold. Eventually, both ends up fighting on Long's back while flying in the sky. Pockets corners Din and prepares to hit him with his golden hand, but Long puts himself in the way, causing him to turn to gold. Din unleashes a savage kick to Pockets, which causes him to touch himself and also turn into a gold statue. Long's golden form plummets from the sky into the river below, and Pockets shatters to pieces against a bridge as he falls. Din, unfortunately, is unable to stop Long's statue from sinking to the bottom of a river since he is now fully encased in gold. Long finds his human self at the entrance to the spirit world. Despite being tempted to go through the gates, he pleads with the guardian of the gate to return to Din because he has not used his third wish. The guardian agrees on one condition, and Din uses his last wish to bring Mr. Wang back to life, and Long disappears. Meanwhile, the two goons split up now that they got their wishes. Din returns home with Lena and her father, and Mrs. Song offers them dinner. Mr. Wang tells Mrs. Song that she made the best soup he has ever had. Sometime later, Mr. Wang starts a restaurant with Din's mother. Also Din and Lena working there and maintaining their friendship. Din then finds a teapot, like the one Long resided in, and releases him outside, who tells him that the condition for his return to Earth was to stay and serve 10 more masters. The old friends embraced each other. Din places the teapot on a carriage driven by an elderly man, who is actually the guardian of the gate to the spirit world. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.